Hi, how's it going? Today I'm going to be showing off one of my favorite teams. It features a S-Zapados, if you couldn't already tell from the title. And basically I've had this for a long time, and over the course of a couple seasons I've been trying to build a team around it. From what I've found, Stunfisk kind of works the best with it as a core, the Stunfisk Zapados core, and it's a matter of finding a good safe swap, and I found that Defense Deoxys tends to be the best safe swap, at least with this team. There are a couple other things you can substitute for it, but it's worked the best for me, at least. So, in this first battle, I took it from, I guess, rank 14 or around there, mostly because it's a little more interesting than some of the very beginning of the season battles. But what I've done in this video is I don't even know how many, the better battles from the beginning of this season, put a bunch of them together. They're mostly in order aside from this one. And then a 5-0 set from last season in the 3100, maybe 3200 range. So that's at the end. But again, here's a little bit more of an exciting battle. As you can see, I'm getting outpaced by the Swampert, because Swampert outpaces just about everything. So how am I going to win this? He's going to beat me to the next Hydro Cannon. He's going to outpace my Drill Peck. Oh, that's how. So, overall, Swampert is a huge pain for this team, especially if you can't get alignment. If they keep it on your Stunfisk and manage to build up some energy, you're kind of out of luck, seeing as Zapados can't exactly take a hit. I was a little bit surprised that they didn't try to make a catch onto this Skarmory and just sack it, but it's a, beginning of the season battle, only at rank 14, so I'm not exactly expecting the best from my opponents. And that was, I guess, a 4-1. But back to the beginning of the season. Oh, and one reason I really do like Zapados is the typing on it. Aside from it being the coolest of the three legendary birds, the typing is also the best, seeing as Electric has one weakness and the rest are resistances, and the one thing that it's weak to, ground, is double resisted by the flying. So it's one of the few Pokemon that, the way the typing is, it gets nothing but resistances from the one type. And then flying, well, you do have to watch out for the rock and the ice. I'm trying to think what else. I guess, well, it'd be neutral from electric, because electric resists itself. Here we're up against a Cofagrigus, or however you say. I'm not really a fan of this thing. I've yet to actually try one out, but it seems good. I think it's got a lot of hype, seeing as it got the recent buff with the Shadow Claw, but I feel like it's still not really that good. And here we have an Earthquake going into the Nidoqueen. Also, keep in mind, I've been debuffed, but I'm still able to get to yet another Rock Slide, which they think is an Earthquake, which is really good for me. That's one of the benefits of Stunfisk, is the triple resistance to poison, seeing as Steel double resists and the ground single. This is a pretty favorable matchup for DD, especially considering they have no shields. So, I think at this range, well, it's over now. We don't get to see it, but I think a Psycho Boost would either barely not kill or just slightly kill. It's much more favorable against a Shadow Nidoqueen, where Psycho Boost will one-shot, but we'll never know, because my little hummingbird here, he gets to moves too quickly. Let's see. Actually, I'm going to turn down the brightness on my phone. Interesting. So that doesn't affect the screen being recorded. While I'm at it, here's the Stunfisk as well. Where is he? It's this guy. Also, Stunfisk into Galvantula. That's one of my favorite matchups. Swampert, not so great of a matchup. And a non-Shadow Swampert can actually comfortably tank a Drill Peck. They obviously don't know this because it is a very early on battle. But yeah, if you're using a Swampert, I think even Shadow will slightly survive. It'll survive with enough health that it'll take a long... You'll get to multiple Hydro Cannons before you get farmed down. And we're going to see in a second how little this actually does. So, Swampert, again, very hard for this team. Yeah, see, it did maybe 60%. And seeing as it single resists the Thundershock, or Thunderbolt. Wait. I believe it's Thunderbolt. Yeah, it's Thunderbolt. And we'll never know what the last Mon was. Assuming we didn't see it and I just wasn't paying attention, but Stunfisk into Galvantula is pretty oppressively in the Stunfisk's favor. You win that one really hard. Now, this is another annoying lead for this team. If you can line the Zapdos up against it, then it's pretty much over. And that's what I'm trying to do. That's what Deoxys kind of really helps you to do. Just oftentimes it's not that favorable for Deoxys, but they'll still switch out, which is exactly what I want them to do. And props to my opponent for bringing in a Shadow Metagross. Again, it is pretty early on in the season, so I'm not exactly going up against the most meta things, which can be more fun. And here we go. We got the alignment we want. The Zapdos into this Politoed is great. And the reason I'm not throwing here, or I threw at the very end, is I didn't want them to farm me down. If you throw, not that at that point it mattered, seeing as I was so low by then. And here we go. This is the alignment you want. Ideally, I would get it so that I'd be in a situation where I could farm down the Drifblim. I don't think I do that in this battle, which is kind of a mistake on my part. I still do win. I mean, especially with the nerfed Weather Ball, Zapdos versus Politoed is very favorable. You can only tank one of them still, but that little bit of extra damage that got taken away from it, it's pretty noticeable when you're using pretty much the definition of a glass cannon. I don't think there are many things that are glassier than a Shadow Zapdos. Let's see. Yeah, here we go. I was trying to see how much it would do now. So before, it would do slightly more, but you'll still survive. And see ya. Where is he? Yeah, this is the Deoxys I've been using forever. Look at those IVs on him. It is nice for CMP ties, because I pretty much always win them. Let's see. Because the opponent didn't switch out quick enough, this is a little bit favorable for the Deoxys. I'm trying to get into a situation where I'll either win switch or be able to farm this down. And that is kind of the best way to play this type of line. This is one of the few teams I run that isn't ABB. I suppose you could consider it a balanced team. Although, you could also consider it a maybe BBA team, seeing as both Stunfisk and Defense Deoxys are pretty good against the things that give Zapados the most trouble. Those being like a Bastiodon or another Stunfisk. And later on in this video, you will see how many drill packs it'll take to beat a Stunfisk. Spoiler, it is a lot. It can tank probably, I think it takes 5. It'll easily tank 3, maybe even 4 at full health. And in this matchup, I've since learned that with Azumarill being XL and being able to comfortably survive a Thunderbolt. Oh, this is a fun matchup too. But with Azumarill being able to survive Thunderbolt, they'll often not shield. So later on, you'll see that I do start throwing the Thunderbolt more often. And in a lot of ways, it's actually worse for the Azumarill because it puts it into the perfect range where you can land that shield once and then farm it all the way down. So you end up having another drill pack or possibly a Thunderbolt for the next thing, which is pretty fun to it's pretty fun to be in that situation. I'll say that much. This was a interesting matchup that I had no idea, how it would play out. Like Gligar, I've never gone up against one of those. Gliscor, I know it's got Night Slash and Earthquake, but no way Gligar would have the same moveset, right? Or a similar moveset. Would they? Sure hope not. I know Stunfisk can survive an Earthquake, but, well, we'll see in a second. I might actually mess around with Gligar, to be honest. It seems like it's a fun pick. I'm not sure which is bulkier, Gligar or Gliscor, but I've got a really nice Shadow Gliscor that I've literally never tried out, actually. Oh, and yeah, it doesn't have Earthquake, but it has a ground move. So it is a similar thing. Here. I think this is the one. Maybe not. Thought I did have something that was good for that. But here's a great matchup as well. Though a Frenzy Plant will do just entirely too much damage, and a Sludge Bomb will one-shot you, so you do have to be wary of that. That is one reason you'll notice that I save my shields all the time for Zapados. I'm not sure why the video is so laggy right here. Apologies for that. And there we go, another Zapados sweep. If you have a Shadow Zapados, even if it doesn't have great IVs, I definitely encourage you to build it and try it out. the team I'm running here is the best that I've found it to, work the best. Oh, I love that. Nice Niantic lag as well. This is one of the best matchups to be in if you're a Stunfisk. It's even better if they don't have Lunge. Which, I don't think this guy has Lunge if I remember correctly. Yeah, no Lunge. And in perfect farm down range, and I guess they didn't think of Stunfisk. I kept that one in there just because that was kind of funny to me, that they didn't build their team. Again, it's the very beginning of the season, but this player never decided to plan for a Stunfisk. I am curious what they are running in the back. Another great league for Stunfisk. And I think this was just the servers. I do remember at this point I was getting kind of annoyed at how much of a slideshow it could be. In this situation here, because I didn't hit the excellence, because it was lagging for whatever reason, you can even see it's a little bit choppy here. I'm not able to land 2 and then farm down. If you manage to hit all the bubbles, you're good. And here I think they were just thinking that I was baiting, because I'm pretty sure they let this go. No, they don't. That was smart on them. And I wanted them to throw some energy before I came in with anything. That's why I stayed in. I think they could technically farm me down, and that would have been really bad for me, but now we get to see Shadow Zapados go off. So, one thing down. Glad I saved those shields. Nice bit of lag here as well. Alright, 2 things going down to Zapados. Can we get a third? Oh, and they had a Pelipper in the back. Now, the reason I threw this here is they would get to a Weather Ball before I would get to the Thunderbolt, and that would knock me out. So I did try to Thunder Shock down. I should have switched to the DD to protect my poor little Hummingbird here, my little Colibri, but yeah, Weather Ball from a Pelipper, it does hurt a little bit more than from a Politoed, but with the nerf, it's still, you can comfortably tank one, and then seeing as you're resisting the wing attacks from the Pelipper, they're not really going to farm you down. Yet another great lead for Stunfisk. And I believe this time I'd begun to wisen up. Nope. Still didn't throw the Thunderbolt. Damn it. Yeah. I think a lot of Azumarill, I guess they've gone up against enough Zappadoses at this point that a lot of Azumarill users will no longer shield. And now this just puts me in an awkward spot, seeing as I don't even think that this will kill it at this range, or KO. Well, they shield, so we'll never know. And I clicked on the move. You see that, right? Well, whatever, I'll just farm down. Oh, nope, I got locked into it. Somehow I lost CMP to an Azumarill, so I just undercharged a little bit and got a nice farm down. Seeing as they have a Skarmory, that's still pretty favorable for... Yeah, and they came into a Skarmory, so what are they weak to in the back? Is it yet another team that Zapados has played against? It is. The only downside, the pro of Zapados is it'll either one-shot or near one-shot just about everything. The con is, even when all 3 things are weak to it, it just has so little bulk that you're going to end up going down. And DD into Medicham is pretty nice for the DD. And speaking of which, I don't know if you've noticed, but I just tried to draw some DDs on my DD. There's a little artistic creativity there on the left. I gave it double D's. And went down a rabbit hole I'm not too happy about, trying to figure out how to draw cartoon breasts. That's why they're pretty rudimentary. There's a whole science to it. It's kind of... I'm glad that I kind of pulled out there. Just didn't go too in depth there with that. But you can see that the rank jumped up kind of. I don't always use the same team. This team is a lot of fun for me, but I tend to get kind of bored of teams pretty quickly and just change them around. So I don't even remember. I think I was just messing around, picking up some L's and whatnot to get from like 5 to 12 or 13 or whatever rank I am now. But here I am back with this team again, playing against, I would say, a little bit better players now, seeing as it wasn't from the very beginning of the season. Well, it's still the very beginning, but not day one, let's put it that way. I have noticed a lot of Defense Deoxys, Umbreon, more of the tanky mons, they tend to actually shield the Earthquake and almost allow you to bait them a lot of times. I think the psychology behind that is that they're thinking that I'll throw the bigger move because I know they won't shield, but then they shield. It's all mind games. So I have gotten quite a few Rock Slides shielded before. And now we're in the perfect range for some Thunder Shocks. I will have to shield once, but once you can get the shields down, and if Zapdos has some energy, it's pretty much over. Let's see what they've got in the back. Skarmory is not a Zapdos counter, and they tried to catch, but seeing as I know it takes a while to get to a Sky Attack, there's no reason not to build up more energy. And that's how much a Dropek does to a full health Medicham. I'm not sure if it's XL or not. I assume it is, seeing as it's been pretty easy. And it was only 14, 18 CP. So I imagine that this trainer's working on getting it up to 1500 and then one-shot the Skarm. Yet another team just with no defense too. Zapados in the back. This team here is all about alignment. And not such a great lead. And not such a great swap. What's nice about the Defense Deoxys into Stunfisk is the counters do a ton, but the charge moves do nothing. So if someone will swap in a Defense Deoxys against me, and I'm resisting the counters, I love to take the counters on, whatever's resisting it. Say I have a Medicham in the lead, and then swap into Stunfisk once they build up a bunch of energy and they have nowhere to go with it. You can see that it's just progressively doing less and less damage with the Psycho Boost, seeing as every time I get double debuffed, although that only happens twice. Now I'm quad debuffed, and that's all going to do the same amount of damage from here on out. I could technically Fight Force switch. I forget what I do here. Yeah, I think I just let it go. And at this point, there's no way they're going to get to an Earthquake, so I'll be able to threaten the Machamp here. Don't even give them some time, and they have Azumarill in the back. And have I finally learned? Yes, I have. Nobody shields their Azumarill for some reason. It's very odd because, oh, what's that? Perfect farm down range. Shield once and have a ton of energy. So, if you do use a Zapados, it pays to not bait. And at this point, they realize there's nothing they can do. Double shielded. They may have had some play, although I think I would have just gotten both their shields down and then landed an Earthquake, or maybe even a Rock Slide would have done it by the time I got the Thunder Shocks in. And the Mud Shots as well. This is a fun Mon. I've messed around with Drapion a little bit, not since they really buffed the Poison Sting. I have been slowly working on a XL one. That is actually something I need to farm more of. Go to one of their nests and grind them out, because they are nesting right now. And tell me that Shiny Drapion is not, well, not Drapion, Shiny Skorupi is not the coolest. Tell me this is not the coolest shiny in the game. This one's pretty meh, not gonna lie. And okay IVs for a shiny. The Aqua Tails are kind of a pain as well, but there's no way that it's gonna farm me down, and they know that, so they throw. So, Zapados, up a shield. I don't know, do I let this go through? I could technically tank one, but I think I shield, yeah, I shield the Aqua Tail. And then I catch another one. So I've got near 100 energy on the Zapados, and a shield for it, so this is pretty dangerous for the opponent, and I am so glad that they did not swap that in on my... I'm glad they stayed in on the Drapion and didn't swap to Wigglytuff, because it takes maybe 5 charms, 6, to take me down. And I'm very curious what they're saving their last shield for. Come back in with the Drapion for some reason. Ooh, and another Azumarill, so... Honestly, I should have just thrown the Psycho Boost as soon as I could to have stalled out the clock and be able to swap this in. It really doesn't matter at this point, because I have, you know, a Thunderbolt and a half. They correctly shield, but I don't think... No, they definitely had a move, or were just getting one. I think they knew that there was no point, though, seeing as I still had a shield. And see ya. And here we go. Back from last season. 3096. This is one of the last battles. I think I got just over 3,200 by the towards the end of the season, and then, well, let's see, had some bad days too. Don't play at night. That's when you start picking up the losses. But whoa, what is happening to my screen? I have no idea what's... Okay, there we go. You can see I'm sitting at a solid 2509 last season. Whenever they have those Go Battle Nights, especially when it was like 3 or 4 times the Stardust reward. Well, I think you know what I did. I handed out some W's. Also, don't bait if you're Jellicent. Just don't do it. I don't know why they insisted on baiting the Stunfisk. It's much better just to throw the Shadow Balls. Low-key, I was hoping that they would shield and then I'd be able to land like a Rock Slide and be able to then farm down with the Zapados. It's all about finding those situations that you can get in where you're able to get an energy advantage. And Thundershocks normally don't do much damage, but from a shadow with such high attack, they chunk. Assuming they're super effective against whatever thing you're shocking. I let that go. Now, here I think I was trying to decide the best way to play this out, seeing as they have some energy, and my biggest fear, I think, was that they would farm the Stunfisk all the way down and then just body spam, and I missed the catch. They CMP tied me. So, for science, let's see how much this does. Quite a bit, but I'm still able to get to another drill peck and take the W. I think I was frantically tapping on the Stunfisk again on the off chance that they somehow survive that, but I'm pretty sure a drill peck will do maybe not quite 90%, but it'll do the majority of a Vig's health. And here we are into another legend. This, I don't know if I mentioned it before, but this last set is a 5-0. And as you can see, Go Battle League is running flawlessly as ever. Hypno used Vanish. It typed in /V. I don't know how or why this happens. I think because I didn't refresh my app. I think I just played too many battles, and that's when it starts to glitch out a little bit. Which I'm fine with the visual glitch, aside from not really being able to keep track of their energy too well. But it is very frustrating whenever... Oh. And it's another team, week 2. S-Zapados. I believe they let the next one go, and that's kind of what lost them the game, if I remember correctly. Yeah, they just threw the game. Interestingly, they do survive that still, so that's how much damage a drill peck does. Yeah, and that's that. They knew it was over then. A pretty decent lead. They swap out immediately. And I think I just I throw one rock slide and I imagine just farm the rest of the way down. Body slams don't do very much. And the counters are resisted, so I should have thrown slightly earlier, but I don't think this will knock it out anyway. So I don't think that's too relevant. And here we can see the game. This battle is actually working pretty nicely, not really lagging. GBL is great whenever everything works properly. It's just very frustrating when it doesn't. And let's get some shields. Very curious what they have in the back here. I'm trying to remember this battle. Yep, and it's over. Another GG. I think we're almost to the end of the video here. Oh, cool. My screen just went out. Hopefully we're good on that. And that didn't screw up this recording. And I believe we're to the last battle. This last one, it's a real nail-biter. If it is the last battle. I don't remember though, but... Ladies and gentlemen, fasten your seatbelts. Put on your helmet. Get a life vest for some high-octane cub chew action. I believe this was a day before, what's it called? A day before that time that I threw my games too. The Go Battle Night. So I think this player was just, you know, taking a step down the stairs, just, you know, going down to the lower. And that's the end of the video. Thank you for watching. And right here, this is the reason why I lose a lot of footage. I may need to find a better way of recording my phone screen, although I don't have too much storage on the device itself. I have had my phone for maybe 3 years at this point, so it might be time to upgrade, but thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed that big-breasted Deoxys there. See ya.